This is the Star Wars The Black Series Range Trooper. The figure is part of the first wave of these Black Series figures for the upcoming Solo, a Star Wars movie toy line. And he is an interesting stormtrooper, or should I say range trooper. Here is the packaging. He is number 64. Doesn't say Imperial Range Trooper, doesn't say Range Stormtrooper, it just says Range Trooper. But we all know there's always troopers in any Star Wars film, and he does look like an early version of the Snow Trooper. And given that he's got this like winter or Arctic coat on him, that's been applied, a helmet, some body armor, some utility pack, interesting Iron Man boots, and some more consoles and panels on his wrists, some gloves, and the usual stormtrooper, some kind of backpack or attachment node or area on his back. So it's an interesting design for what would be a sort of snow trooper or range trooper, tundra trooper. Just to give you a size comparison, here he is with a regular standard stormtrooper. He is a little bit taller. He stands at about 6¼ inches tall, and that's probably because of the boots, those mechanized boots. So it makes him taller. That's pretty cool. The gun that he has, E11 blaster, I think. It's probably a different version. Let me just see if I can put some light on that. I don't think it's the E11 because let me show you the E11. It has a bigger stock. It's got a laser targeting scope, I think. Is that laser targeting? So much different. Is it a DC-15? Maybe a DC-15. I don't know. But you can see the differences of that. All right. No moving parts, no anything like that. Okay. If the trooper looks vaguely familiar, that's because the helmet, I feel, is an early adaptation of the hover tank driver. If you've forgotten what the driver is, well, I'm not going to show you the figure because I don't have it anymore. This is what the hover tank driver's helmet looks like. So very similar, not quite. He's got this. These look like breathing apparatuses, while this one is more flat. This one looks to be like the Scarif Trooper, so it's sort of like a mix. Still has some originality to it. It's not just a straight up remold or repaint, reuse of a previously released helmet. What's interesting also about this figure is I was actually a little bit surprised with this one. Hasbro has put some soft goods, sort of fur-like material on him. I was surprised that they actually did this. I thought it was just photoshopped and all that to make it look like real fur, but it is actually it's a fabric they've put on it. So interesting take on a would-be stormtrooper. It's a range trooper. These are just made of soft PVC material, no fur on it. It's hard to say if he's got some armor underneath the jacket or the Arctic coat. I don't think so. Maybe he does. I don't know. Okay. Let's give you a closer look at the details of this figure, starting with that head sculpt. Beautiful, majestic head sculpt. Some gold paint on it. And don't be shocked if most of the troopers are dirty, because I think this is intentional, the weathering on the helmet. Just make sure you pick one with the least amount of bleeding of black paint into the white. And this is the area where there's a lot of, like, there's a cross, like, bleed there from the black ink. So just look for one that has most decent type of weathering. Same here, some decent paint apps on the armor. More weathering right there. No weathering on the jacket. That's interesting. No wash. Didn't put anything on it. Very glossy plastic they used for the sleeves and back of the jacket. Well, this one is a matte type of soft PVC material. He's got interesting boots. Kind of reminds me of the Iron Man Mark I. Very nice. No other movement except for this. He's got more armor underneath. And he's got this pilot. It feels like the pilot straps on their jumpsuit. So I don't know why he would need that. Maybe to keep this part of the Arctic jacket from flying off. So interesting amount of detail. Very, very highly detailed figure. Articulation for the figure. He's got a ball jointed neck, ball jointed upper torso, ball hinge shoulders, ball hinge elbows that I believe bends a little bit over 90 degrees, maybe 95, 100 degrees. And that's because there's a cut in the elbow joint. Interesting. Which they can't do a double jointed elbow, so they had this is a nice way of what the Star Wars team has put so that you could bend the elbow more than 90 degrees. Ball hinge wrists that go, this one goes up and down right there. This one goes in and out. Okay. It's got a ball jointed hip that's severely hindered by the armor pieces and the Arctic waist, the coat, bottom part of the coat from his Arctic coat. A little bit hindered, very difficult to pose. Okay. It's got a thigh swivel, a little bit loose. It's got ball hinge knees that go all the way just up to there. No calf swivel. Hinge ankle. Does it have rocker joints? A little bit, I think. Yep, a little bit, but again hindered by the amount of detail of his boots, armored boots that he's got. So great paint apps, great detail, great articulation, but severely hindered by the details of the armor, by the sculpt. So yeah, he's best done this way. If you're gonna army build this guy, yeah, that's as good as his pose can get. But very nice take on that elbow articulation. I really like it. It's going to get a 8.5 out of 10 for me. I love the details, but articulation, can't really do much with this guy except just pose him like this standing up. It's a great figure to army build. I love what Hasbro's been doing with their figures, making them more realistic. Love the wash, the detailing on it. Well done, Hasbro. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video review. This has been the Star Wars The Black Series in 6-inch scale, the Range Trooper. Thanks for watching. All right, those boots, they look awfully familiar. Just too familiar. Where'd you say you got them?